Ferrari has just revealed Hamilton's SF-25, and this changes everything. A car with just 1% of parts in common with its predecessor, designed to break Red Bull's hegemony. But can it really do it? Before I tell you, tell me in the comments, do you think Ferrari will challenge for the title in 2025? Ferrari has decided to break with its traditional approach and bet on a radical change in the SF-25. For years, the team has followed a strategy of progressive evolution, making minor adjustments to each new version of its car. However, this time the story is completely different. The SF-25 is not a simple evolution of the SF-24, it is a completely new car, with just 1% of parts in common with its predecessor. This change is not a whim or an impulsive decision. Ferrari has carried out a thorough analysis of the SF-24's weaknesses, identifying the critical points that prevented it from competing consistently against Red Bull and Mercedes. One of the main problems was the lack of stability on different types of circuits, which led the team to rethink its design philosophy from the ground up. Frédéric Vasseur, team principal, made it clear that small adjustments would not be enough to challenge the leaders of the grid. The Scuderia understood that if it wanted to fight for the championship, it had to make structural changes to its car. Thus the SF-25 was born, with a totally revised architecture to correct the inconsistencies that affected its performance in the previous season. One of the biggest problems with the SF-24 was the inconsistency in its behavior. The car showed solid performance on certain circuits, but suffered on others due to the lack of balance in its aerodynamic and mechanical configuration. This instability resulted in difficulties in finding the ideal setup at each Grand Prix, costing key points throughout the year. The SF-25 has been designed to eliminate these weaknesses, focusing on improving stability in fast corners, aerodynamic efficiency, and tire management. Ferrari has worked on a more optimized weight distribution, a more balanced chassis, and aerodynamics that maximize downforce without compromising straight-line speed. Another factor that motivated this drastic change was the need to adapt the car to the specific challenges of the 2025 season. The competition has evolved and Red Bull has set the standard in terms of aerodynamic efficiency and mechanical stability. Ferrari could not afford to be left behind, so it decided to take risks and bet on an innovative concept that will allow it to reduce the gap with the leading teams. The SF-25 is not simply an improvement, it is a complete redesign with a different philosophy. Ferrari has prioritized aggressiveness in development, unafraid to abandon previous concepts in search of a solution that can truly challenge the current dominators of Formula One. Time will tell whether this bold gamble pays off, but what is clear is that Ferrari has put aside its conservative mindset to return to fighting at the top. One of the most significant changes to the SF-25 is the addition of the pull rod front suspension, a system that Ferrari had not used in the modern era of Formula One, but which has proven highly effective in Red Bull's technical dominance. The Scuderia has decided to adopt this configuration with the aim of improving the car's stability in fast corners, optimizing aerodynamics, and lowering the center of gravity, factors that can make the difference in the fight against the leaders of the grid. The pull rod system is characterized by having the suspension braces anchored at the top of the suspension triangles and extended down to the chassis. This architecture offers several key advantages. Firstly, it allows for a more efficient weight distribution by lowering the position of the suspension elements, reducing the car's center of gravity. This improves stability in high-speed corners and allows for a more precise response to changes of direction, an essential feature on circuits with linked sequences of corners. Another crucial benefit of this configuration is its impact on aerodynamics. With the suspension elements positioned lower, the airflow over the nose of the car is cleaner and less turbulent, allowing for better channeling of air towards the rear of the car. In today's Formula One, where aerodynamic efficiency is a determining factor in performance, these kinds of details can make the difference between a competitive car and one that struggles to stay in the midfield. Red Bull has perfected the use of the pull rod in recent years, making its cars highly balanced and efficient in all race conditions. Ferrari has thoroughly studied this technology and worked on adapting it to its own design philosophy to maximize its performance. One of the challenges facing the Scuderia is finding the ideal setting for this suspension in combination with its new aerodynamic setup, ensuring that the car maintains an optimal balance between stability and agility. As well as improvements in stability and aerodynamics, the pull rod suspension also influences tire management. A car with good cornering stability and well-calibrated suspension can reduce compound wear, allowing for more flexible and efficient race strategies. Last season, Ferrari struggled to maintain tire performance over long runs, which affected its competitiveness in certain races. With this new setup, the team is seeking greater consistency in performance, especially on circuits where tire wear has been a recurring problem. The adoption of the pull rod represents a philosophical shift in the way Ferrari designs its cars. For years, the team has gone its own way in terms of suspension, but the need to close the gap with Red Bull and Mercedes has led the team to explore solutions that have already proven effective on other competitors. These types of adjustments may seem small from a technical point of view, but in a sport where every thousandth of a second counts, the correct implementation of this technology can make the difference between victory and second place. The challenge for Ferrari will not only be to adapt the pull rod to its car, but also to ensure that it works optimally from the first races. Pre-season will be crucial to assess whether this technical decision offers the expected advantages and whether the SF25 can make the most of this configuration at all circuits on the calendar. The effectiveness of the system will not only depend on the initial design, but also on the team's ability to develop improvements and adjustments throughout the season. The question remains whether this gamble will be enough to close the gap to Red Bull and allow Ferrari to consistently challenge for wins. The Scuderia have made a brave decision in incorporating this technology, and if they manage to implement it correctly, they could close the gap with the team that has dominated Formula One in recent years. Ferrari has completely redesigned the aerodynamics of the SF25 with a clear objective: to generate more downforce without sacrificing straight-line speed. In modern Formula One, finding this balance is essential. A car with high downforce can be fast in corners, but if the drag is too high, it will lose top speed on circuits with long straights. On the other hand, a car designed to be fast on straights can suffer in high-speed corners due to a lack of grip. Ferrari has worked hard to avoid falling into these extremes and ensure that the SF25 is competitive on any type of track. One of the most significant changes to the aerodynamics of the SF25 is the modification to the design of the side pods. Unlike the SF24, where the air inlets were positioned further forward, on the new car they have been moved back a few centimeters. This change reduces the impact of turbulence generated by the front wheels and improves the channeling of the airflow towards the rear of the car. Red Bull has successfully applied similar strategies in recent years, indicating that Ferrari has thoroughly studied the solutions that have led the Austrian team to dominate the category. In addition to the relocation of the air inlets, Ferrari has increased the inclination of the side pod slope towards the rear of the car. This design allows the airflow to be guided more efficiently towards the diffuser, which improves the car's ability to generate downforce without increasing drag on the straight line. Correct air management in this area is crucial, as it directly influences the car's stability in high-speed corners and its performance during long runs. The SF25's floor has also been the subject of significant modifications. In modern Formula One, ground effect is one of the most determining factors in a car's performance. Ferrari has optimized the profile of the Venturi tunnels, seeking to increase the amount of air passing through this section without generating turbulence that affects stability. The key here is to make the airflow under the car as efficient as possible, maximizing downforce without generating unnecessary drag. One of the improvements in this area has been the refinement of the floor edges and the optimization of the diffuser, two elements that play a fundamental role in generating downforce without affecting straight-line speed. Another important innovation in the SF25's aerodynamics is the interaction between the bodywork and the new pull rod front suspension. By lowering the position of the kinematic elements, Ferrari has achieved a lower center of gravity, which not only improves the car's response to changes of direction, but also reduces sensitivity to gusts of crosswind. These kinds of details can make the difference on circuits with fast corners, where stability and the ability to maintain the ideal line are essential to extract maximum performance from the car. Ferrari has also worked on optimizing cooling, an aspect that is often overlooked when talking about aerodynamics. The redistribution of the internal ducts allows for improved heat dissipation without affecting aerodynamic performance. This is key to maintaining an optimal temperature in the car's components, especially on circuits where high temperatures or sectors with low-speed corners can make cooling a challenge. Ferrari's challenge is to make all these improvements work together. An efficient aerodynamic design depends not only on the quality of each of its elements, but on the way they interact with each other. The Scuderia has opted for an aggressive approach, implementing changes that should allow it to reduce the gap with Red Bull and Mercedes. However, the true performance of the SF25 will only be confirmed on the track, where simulations and aerodynamic calculations will have to be translated into competitive times. If Ferrari can correctly balance downforce with low straight-line drag, the SF25 could become a car capable of consistently fighting for wins. In a Formula One where every detail makes the difference, Ferrari's ability to squeeze the most out of its new aerodynamic concept will be key in its fight for the championship. Ferrari has taken a bold step with the SF25. It is not a simple tweak on the basis of the SF24, but a complete transformation with a new design philosophy that seeks to correct all the weaknesses of the past and position the team in the real fight for the championship. From the adoption of the front pull rod suspension to the optimization of aerodynamics and weight redistribution, every technical decision reflects the Scuderia's determination to close the gap with Red Bull and Mercedes. The big question is whether this gamble will pay off from the first race. In Formula One, it is not enough to have a theoretically competitive car. The real test comes on the track, where data and simulations must be translated into real performance. Ferrari needs the SF25 to be fast in qualifying, consistent in the race, and, above all, predictable in different conditions and circuits. A car that is difficult to understand or has tire degradation problems could compromise its chances, as has happened in previous seasons. The success of the SF25 will also depend on how Ferrari manages the development of the car during the season. Today's Formula One is not just about who has the best car in the first race, but who is able to evolve and adapt best throughout the year. Red Bull and Mercedes have proven to be experts at maximizing the potential of their cars with continuous improvements, and Ferrari cannot afford to fall behind in this area. If the team manages to maintain a competitive pace of development, the SF25 could become a constant threat to its rivals. Another key factor in this equation is the arrival of Lewis Hamilton. His experience in the fight for championships, his ability to contribute to the development of the car, and his winning mentality could be decisive in the evolution of the SF25. However, the car must be up to his demands from the start. If Ferrari manages to provide him with a competitive car, Hamilton could be the key piece in turning the Scuderia into a genuine title contender. But if the car presents problems from the first races, the pressure on the team will increase considerably. The impact of the SF25 will not be limited to the 2025 season. All the work carried out in its development will serve as a basis for the next era of Formula One, where Ferrari must demonstrate that it has the ability to return to the top of the category. The transition to 2026 will be a challenge for all teams, and a good performance in 2025 would allow Ferrari to focus on that new stage without compromising its aspirations in the present. But if the SF25 fails to meet expectations, the team could be forced to rethink its approach and allocate resources differently, affecting both its present and future. The question now is clear. Ferrari has made risky decisions with the SF25, but will they be enough to challenge Red Bull's dominance? Or will the Scuderia once again fall short of glory? Leave your opinion in the comments. If you want to closely follow the development of the teams and all the keys to the 2025 season, subscribe and activate notifications. One of the most anticipated seasons of recent years is coming, and here we are going to analyze it in detail.